at the end of the day, people don't go after what they want because they are very fearful of failure, right?
Welcome to the Spartan Up podcast, hosted by Joe De Sena, founder and CEO of Spartan Race, and brought to you by Wild Health.
We are talking about overcoming obstacles. The same way we teach people to get over obstacles on the course, we will teach you here on the Spartan Up podcast to get over obstacles in your mind.
Get race ready with Wild Health, the official healthcare provider of Spartan. Sign up at wildhealth.com with the code SPARTAN10 to save 10%.
Activate the best, most energized, productive, and connected version of yourself with Heroic, the official wellness app of Spartan. Learn more and get started with your free Spartan starter pack at heroic.us/Spartan. That's heroic.us/Spartan.
Joe De Sena here, CEO and founder of Spartan and the Spartan Up podcast. And I've got a really good friend of mine, an absolute maniac. It's a really good guest, Jen Cohen. I'm going to really piss her off by saying this, but
don't say
strong is the new skinny? No?
Oh, no. Strong as the New Skinny was an old book a long time ago.
She's a famous author. She's an influencer.
That was what I didn't want you to say.
She hates when I call her an influencer because she's like, I'm so much more than an influencer. Tell us what you are, Jen.
I didn't say I'm so much more than an influencer. I just don't consider myself to be an influencer. So I find it really funny when that's how you always describe me. So I don't know. I think that I'm just like a regular everyday person that has a lot of different areas that I am interested in, and I dabble in a lot of things. But everything really revolves around the health and wellness space. But the core through line is that I actually just go after whatever I'm interested in or whatever I want to do, because I've harnessed the skill of being bold. And that's why we're here to talk today.
Tell us about this new book. Bold, bigger, better?
No. Bigger, better, bolder. But I'm so happy that you read the book and are so familiar with what I'm talking about today. So that's what we're here today to talk about. We're here to talk about how to harness the skill, which I think being bold is a skill, that people don't have to be born being bold. And I think that's a misconception. People think that you have to be born being one way. I believe that, like anything, if you want to harness something and get good at something, it requires practice and more practice. And boldness is a skill like anything else, like piano, like swimming. Just the more you do it, the better you get at it.
It's funny because I feel like even though you're a quote unquote influencer and author and supermom, you've stole my line, because I say we should all practice grit and resilience and doing hard things the same way we practice piano and math and anything, and swimming and anything else in life. So now you're saying we should be bold in that same manner, which is tied. Would you agree? It's tied to grit, resilience, right?
It's all tied. They're all in the same family. Like I think what you talk about is the importance of also having grit, of having resilience. And by the way, which is interesting because that's a lot of what my book talks about, is the building of these things. And, at the end of the day, people don't go after what they want because they are very fearful of failure, right? And what makes people more resilient is when they do fail, right? The more people fail and the more you do fail, it gives you that resilience, that ability to kind of like brush yourself off and get right back up and try it again. And my entire message and my entire philosophy is based around the idea of getting comfortable in that failure by practicing it over and over and over again. And I created this whole thing that's called the 10% target, which is basically that. It's basically making 10 attempts at whatever you want most. And in that process, you may even, by the way, most of the time not even get to that goal. But what you learn from the process is the comfortability of getting better and better at asking and going and chasing. after what you want, as opposed to just acquiescing to what's in front of you and to being okay with good enough. Because to me, that's not good enough. Living a life that's just good enough is actually the opposite of good enough.
I agree with that 1,000%. Sometimes I'll be in an airport somewhere in the world, and there'll be a giant line, like literally a quarter-mile long. And business class and first class has no line, but I don't have a business class or first class ticket. And I'm like, I want to be bigger, bolder, and better. And I go up, and I just say,
Bigger, better, bolder.
bigger, better, bolder. And I just say, hi, and I give them my ticket, and I wince a little bit because I'm afraid, they might realize that I got to sit in the back of the plane. And somehow they let me through. And all it took was me asking. Does that make sense?
100%. That's basically, there's very much, none of this is complicated, Joe, right? Like, a lot of times we try to make these like very simple solutions or things that are very much like just simple, very, very complicated. And it doesn't have to be. The idea behind this 10% target is, you may fail 10 times out of 10, but two things will happen. Either you will get the thing you want, or another opportunity will present itself that you never even knew existed because you even went through the process, right? Because the more you put yourself out there, it's momentum, right? Like things in motion stay in motion. So you got to be doing things, acting, and action begets more action. So that's what you get from this 10% target. And the other thing you get from the 10% target is the practice of going after whatever it is. It's the practice element, right? The practice of getting people saying no to you, the practice of falling, the practice of failing, the practice of things not working out. Because the best way to get comfortable with that and to keep on going is to become immune to failure, right? Like 99.999% of the things I went after, I never ever got, but I got something else just from the fact that I got really, really okay and immune to the feeling of rejection.
I think we should practice doing hard things. We should practice failing, because how else would you become good? That's basically what you're saying. Practice.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, we're saying the same thing, and that's why you and I become such good friends, is because we're cut from the same cloth, right? Like a lot of this stuff is what is necessary for people to become successful. And I'm not talking just professionally successful. I'm talking about personally successful. And it's about creating a rich life, which is much more robust than just money. It's about life experiences, the type of relationships that you have that are satiating and fulfilling. It's about really kind of like getting comfortable and doing all these things that will put you in opportunities to win and be more closer to your authentic self and things that are much more who you want to be.
I'm heading to the Ukraine tomorrow.
You are.
I am. Does that count for bolder, better, and bigger?
Well, it definitely counts for bold. That's for sure. Bolder. Bigger, better, bolder, by the way. But yes, it definitely counts. Interestingly enough, didn't you ask me to go with you on that trip, and now you're going without me?
Because you said you're working on your influencing and your book launch. And you didn't have time to help feed starving children.
He's lying.
Right.
First of all, he's lying. I never said I'm working on my influencing, because I don't influence. Number one. Number two, I said I'm working on my book launch, because that is actually true. But I did want to go with you to that trip. But you kind of mentioned it and then said I wasn't allowed on the plane with you, is what I remember happening. You wanted me to hitchhike, is what I remember you saying.
That's right. We're gonna go back in January. So, and you're on that trip, and your book will have been launched already. Maybe we'll take a bunch of soft cover books of yours and hand them out. Not that the Ukrainians need it. I mean, they're living boldly.
I don't think they need my book. I think I can take a book from them. I think they've written the book of being bold way before I did.
It is amazing what they're doing. Now tell me, you came out and did a Spartan race years ago. And then you took a big group, and then you stopped talking to me for 5 years. What was that all about?
We all know that fruits and vegetables are great for us, but how much do you need to take in order to reap the benefits? Hi, I'm Dr. Julie Fouché from Wild Health. A 2017 study showed that individuals who took in 8 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables per day had the greatest risk reduction when it comes to cardiovascular disease, cancer, and dying from any cause. So how much is 8 to 10 servings? Well, a serving is about 80 grams by weight, or one piece of fruit or one vegetable. There are some easy ways to try to incorporate more fruits and vegetables throughout the day. So one would be starting your day off with a smoothie. Throw in 3 to 5 servings there to start your day on the right foot. Make sure that you chop up all of your vegetables at the beginning of the week. That way it's easy to throw in for snacks or to use for your meals. And finally, think about joining a local CSA. It's a great way to try new fruits and vegetables that you may not have tried before. So give it a shot. It's not that hard, just 8 to 10 servings. You can do it.
Spartans, do you want to go through life in the same unstoppable way that you do at a Spartan race? With the courage, commitment, and confidence to go over, around, and through obstacles? Well, that's exactly what Heroic, the official wellness app of Spartan, is all about. Heroic integrates ancient wisdom, modern science, and practical tools to help you activate the best, most heroic version of yourself. Get started for free with more wisdom in less time with a Spartan starter pack distilling the big ideas from a few of Joe De Sena's great books, Spartan Up and the Spartan Way, into 6-page PDFs. Then, put that theory into practice with world-class habit tracking and behavior design tools that research shows can help you be 40% more energized, 20% more productive, and 15% more connected in just minutes a day. Learn more and get your free starter pack at heroic.us/Spartan, where, as a Spartan, you'll also be able to save 20% off all premium memberships. It's time to activate your best and flourish, being more energized, productive, and connected. Not someday, but today.
You're breaking out all the winners, all of the best hits, the greatest hits. So Joe, don't listen to Joe. That's not true. I did it. I actually met you 5 years ago, now probably coming to 6 years, at some conference. And I ran up to you and I said, hey, Joe, I'm going to be doing a Spartan race, and I'm going to be doing a Spartan race. I'm bringing so many people with me. I'm bringing like 60 people. And you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's great. Thank you. And then we started talking, and, then we were like kind of talking, and then you kind of just didn't like respond to my text messages or my phone calls or my emails, actually, for that matter. And you basically just ghosted me for like 5 or 6 years. And then eventually we got reconnected because you were looking for people to help promote your TV show, I believe. Was that what it was? And so you got back into my vortex. And then from that, I think you forgot who I even was. I'm like, Joe, remember me? I'm the girl. I did this race 5 or 6 years ago. I met you at this conference. We had these conversations. And you're like, no, sorry, I have no clue who you are. I don't even remember meeting you. I don't remember talking to you. It was basically a one-sided friendship that went sour.
Anybody who knows me, which, by the way, might tie into your book when I say that, anybody who knows me knows I respond pretty much to everybody all the time. You literally are the only person somehow on the planet across 45 countries, 10 million people, that somehow got disconnected from me. But is that a way to live? Or some people say, Joe, you're crazy talking to everybody, communicating with everybody. Is that part of your?
No, I think it's exactly part of my plan. I think it's very important. I think what a major part of all of this, and about being bold and being successful, and is about curiosity, right? Because curiosity to me is a window into how people actually build communication, opportunity, connection. And that's what you do very well. And that's how you get all these other opportunities, right? Like, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know who you don't know. So the more you're actually able to ask questions and go out in the world and be curious and open to opportunities and people, that's where those things live. All those opportunities live in the unknown, that it's up to you. The onus is on you to take ownership and agency on your life, to put yourself in opportunities and places where you can actually win and succeed. And the way to do that is through curiosity. And what you do is brilliant, right? Because the people that you least expect are the ones who usually are the most helpful, and usually some of the best relationships and the best connecting points. In my experience, it's always been the people that the people that always ended up being the best connectors, the best people in relationships, personally and professionally, have been the people I least expected to be helpful. And the people that I put on a pedestal and thought, oh, they're so powerful, or they're so great, they're so successful, they're the ones who are going to help me to get to this panacea, have always been duds. I find that to be very interesting.
You and I, no wonder we get along, because I found the same thing over 40 years, is that by keeping tethered to all these people, it's the most unlikely connection to somebody that just becomes so powerful one day, where you receive a phone call or an email, whatever it may be, and you're like, oh my God, I never expected that to happen. So I tell my kids, I say 3 things. Tell me if this fits into your program. Number 1, I said, you got to learn to communicate like a movie star. You got to get to capture people's attention, look them in the eyes, shake their hands, speak well. Number 2, this is going to be politically incorrect. People are going to hate you and I because I said this. Work like an immigrant. Immigrants, people that come over to this country trying to make themselves better, they work really, really hard, much harder than most Americans, or most people in the first world, because we've got too much. And then number 3, have gratitude like a monk. And those are my 3 things. Does that fit the framework of the book?
Not so. I mean, listen, I love that you say that, because you said that on my podcast actually, and you've actually said that a few times to me, and I agree with you. But that's not really part of my plan. But I do wholeheartedly believe in what you're saying. I think gratitude is super important. I think work ethic is. There's nothing that I believe. I think work ethic basically trumps almost everything. You can have a lot of talent, but do nothing with it and be a total dud, right? You can outwork talent to be successful any day. I have a whole thing in my book actually that's close to that, and that's about being smart, being bold versus brilliant. And I believe it's more important to be bold than it is to be brilliant, because when you're brilliant, you tend to overthink everything and tend to have analysis paralysis and stop yourself from the act, because you're thinking about all the things that can go wrong. But when you're bold, you go and you move and you think about all the things that can go right. So the person who acts with boldness versus just acts with brilliance actually wins at the end of the game. And that's been like my experience, and on my podcast, which is all I do, like a majority of my day now is spent interviewing extraordinary people who've had extraordinary success in life. And the through line is people who've really reached those heights of true happiness and success, is because they didn't overthink things. They just went for it, and they figured it out as they went. And they weren't following a blueprint, and they are not following some procedure and Excel spreadsheet, but they're actually like going after something and taking things in stride. And as things come up, they figure it out as they go.
I love it. Jen, let's boil it down. 3 things that folks need to do really succinct at home, before or after they get the book, to be bolder, better, and stronger.
Practice. Number 1 is practicing their boldness by doing little things every day, so they can get comfortable with if you can't get comfortable doing the little things, it's going to be really hard to go after the big things. So little things that you can do is like calling your cell phone service provider and seeing if there's a better plan than what you have to save money. You can do that easily, or like any type of bill that you have. You can go to a restaurant and ask for the dressing on the side, or send your food back when it's cold, and not just accept the good enough if it's not how it's supposed to be. Now, these are all things, or small little things that make you comfortable with the ask, that can help you harness and learn the bigger asks. That's the first thing you can do. The second thing is you could, I believe in doing some form of working out every single day, first thing in the morning. I think that's super important for your brain, for your cognitive ability, for being focused and alert, and for building confidence. I think the element of fitness with the program is super important, because for me, fitness was a major confidence booster, right? The stronger you get physically, the more stronger you feel mentally. It teaches you discipline, goal setting. It helps you with, like, to me, fitness has become a microcosm of like life skills that you can use in in day-to-day life. So doing some form of like physical fitness daily as part of your routine is super important. And another thing is, like, be careful and be very cognizant of the people that you build around you, right? Like I say, create a board of directors around you. The people around you, the 5 people around you become the people that you surround yourself with, is who you become. So make sure that the people around you are people that you like who they are. You can learn from them. They're people that you like are like-minded, because very often we ask advice from people who don't even have the life experience or the wherewithal to even give us that advice. They're talking from their own myopic experience, and then we end up listening to people who don't even have the I guess, like I said, the wherewithal to even give us that type of advice. So watch who you surround yourself with, and who you ask advice from. And like I said, it's about doing these little things every day, building these little habits daily to get you to a place where you can do tomorrow what you don't feel the courage that you don't feel the courage to do today.
Jen, we are an average of our 5 best friends. I love it. You are awesome. I'm glad you're on in my personal board of directors. And I hope you have a blast with the book. How do people find out about it? Where do they get it? Amazon, where do they go?
They can go to Amazon. They can go to Target, Barnes & Noble, wherever fine books are sold. And they can go to my website, jennifercohen.com. They can follow me on Instagram. All the regular places.
You're awesome, Jen. Thanks for being such an amazing influencer.
Thank you, Joe, for just loving to tease me so well every day, every time.
Maximize energy, optimize nutrition, and improve performance with Wild Health. Personalized precision healthcare built for Spartans. You'll get a personalized health plan based on your DNA and biometrics, and the support of a team of health experts. Sign up at wildhealth.com with the code SPARTAN10 to save 10%. Thanks for listening to this episode of Spartan Up Podcast.